Oh, do. Ooh, I need a haircut.
Ooh, get
Why didn't you put
unmuted.
it right there?
Put one right there.
Dang.
It is there. Oh, it's the chats.
Whatever.
You know, look at the
Hold on.
chats.
Yeah.
Wait, now the chat screen. Now we frozen.
Oh, there we go.
Alrighty. Wait, we're trying to save. Oh, wait, we're trying to share it. Give us a minute. Meanwhile, y'all can
Oh,
share it too if you want.
listen, people. Happy Martin Luther King Day.
There's got to be an easier way.
Whatever it means that means to you. Uh, whatever.
Well,
I don't know. That's all I'll say.
that's all you'll say.
No, I ain't got nothing else to say.
Hmm. Yes, you do.
All right, here we go. What's the first one, baby?
Okay, so uh, I thought you had one.
You go first. Women first. Ladies first.
Oh, okay. Anyway, I had a variety of topics, so I
Yeah.
didn't have just one thing, and I told you what they were.
Yeah. So let's
So
talk
let's
about the
start with
first
the
one.
first one. Okay. So you know how we were talking earlier about the different things, like what's kind of expected in relationships and marriages now, and how I don't think that's really should be the norm. Let's talk about how do you protect your marriage and relationship in today's society, where having standards, what when you have standards, people criticize you for having standards, for having boundaries in relationships. People tell you that, well, men will be men or women will be women. How do you protect your relationship in today's society with that mindset?
You asking me, or you
Yeah, I'm
gonna speak
asking you.
first? Um, First of all, a thing that I always say is called maturity, but it have to go back in today's society to protect it. People are gonna have to mature, but I think to make that process a lot easier, we have to change it from when they're children. Uh, how we raise our children and how we show our children how to love and appreciate your partner, whether it's in marriage, whether it's in a separation, um, and whatever it is. When people separate, they shouldn't always be going back and forth and talking to the kids. I don't care if you dislike anybody, but it starts there. But in today's society, how you protect it, you have to. I think you have to have people with morals. Uh, and the same type of values of things in life or about relationships.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have somebody that's not willing to compromise. You can't have one person willing to do all the work and the other one doesn't want to meet them there or don't want to meet them there.
All right.
Because I'll use again. I'm always gonna use me. Um, I'll use me for instance. I never was the one to compromise. It was either my way, and I don't want to hear what you got. Not with her, but in general. Uh, it's all my way. If you don't, I don't want to say I hear because I wasn't controlling, but if I didn't get things my way, then I'll just move on.
Mm-hmm.
So you I learned how to compromise. I learned how to listen and pay attention. Uh, I said this in a couple other lives. You, the key is to be selfless. Uh, one of the keys, and
Mm-hmm.
that helps you get further, and you protect it just by realizing why you fell in love in the beginning. Um, if it's the if the foundation was love anyway, and not because he or she does this sexually or has this amount of money or uh, they're so beautiful or whatever the case may be. I think only how you technically can even get to the stages of thinking about trying to protect your marriage or relationship is if you love that person or with that person for the right reasons anyway, because you're not going to protect something that you like for false reasoning. So
No, that's I agree with that, and I the standard thing is a big one because I think if you're um if you make your standards known and your boundaries known up front, I think you be more apt to end up with someone to begin with that's either going to be in agreement with those or who's like minded to begin with you, right? As far as how to protect it. So if I find something disrespectful and I'm upfront about the things that I find disrespectful, um, then rightfully, if I'm talking to you about that and you just like, oh, that's not disrespectful, I'm gonna just do it anyway, then we shouldn't be together to begin with. But that takes communication or a willingness of a person to say, okay, well, if you find it disrespectful, then I'm not gonna do it because it's that important for me to be with you. And I think it's like just you have to um, consider the things that can actually come against you in your relationship. I mean, there's other things, stuff outside of our, well, that we can control, but it has nothing to do with like um, ourselves. Like they can be outside forces. For example, we have to decide like whether or not we're gonna bring issues from work home, and because we don't love like our job or something, we're gonna take that on our partner, or because we're going through some other things and other aspects of our lives, whether or not that's gonna cause undue stress to our relationship, and whether or not we're gonna allow it to. So we have to protect it in that manner too. You have to protect it from sometimes from family, because I've seen posts where people saying their family have been in their relationship and interjected in ways that they maybe probably shouldn't have had. So we have
People
to,
listening to it and feed. Yeah.
yeah, have to protect it from your friends sometimes because friends don't understand. You will have people who have friends that don't understand. Oh, why they want to spend all this time with this person now and not with me? And their friends are trying to encourage them to do things that
Single people do.
yeah, that single people do. Or even if you're telling your friends like, hey, I feel like I need to spend this time nurturing my relationship and they can't respect that, then you have to be able to protect your relationship in that manner. No, we need to be spending this much time because we've been going through this or we blah blah blah. So you have to protect it in that aspect too. It even comes from when we've been in uh previous relationships, whether or not we're gonna allow that person to continue to uh cause drama in our relationship. So there's a lot of ways and you have to protect your marriage and relationship. And those things need to be discussed. And I think boundaries need to be established. And even sometimes, what do you call them? Reestablished throughout an entire marriage and relationship in order for you to protect it.
Yeah, I agree. That's a short subject for me. I just, again, I with me, you know, I don't really want to go into detail about that. What's going on now, but I said something today, and I will say this too. I'm sorry. Before I get to that, um, I never was the one that liked counseling. Right? We don't have a bad marriage. Do we have a bad marriage? I don't think we have a bad marriage. But I never was the one. This is my way of protecting my marriage. One, I still kind of don't really necessarily believe in counseling like that, but it helps. It helps us. It helps us communicate. It helps us even resolve even little issues that we may or may not have. Um, and that's a way of protecting it.
Mm-hmm.
The counselor actually said one time people don't need counseling. A lot of people go to counseling when it's too late or it's or they're having problems or whatever. And I honestly thought that's what counseling was for um, at first. But going through it now and dealing and doing the counseling, it actually helps. And that's a way to protect your marriage too, because you before you get to the point of the marriage or the relationship being in rocky spots, by you talking and going through the counseling now, it helps if you get to those rocky spots how to handle it a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
And that's already in place if it's needed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like, you know what, oh, I don't like you, or oh no, you're wrong, or you know, this, that, and the third, da da da. And now you got all of this. Oh, I ain't going to counseling, or you get to counseling, and now you're yelling at each other. You already have a place of understanding before those situations arise. So that's one way of protecting your relationship and your marriage, and or your marriage. Um,
Yeah.
and it's watching your surroundings, like she said about the friends. Luckily, I don't really have friends that's. Well, I don't really have too many friends. I all got two, but I don't really have friends that's that will put me in a place of, or let me say it this way: I don't have friends that's gonna get mad at me because I don't hang out with them like I used to, and do the things that we used to do. Because one of them probably still do. I don't know, probably still doing some things that he used to, and that's cool. Like that's his business. I'll still love him, but he respect me enough not to think that I done changed up, flipped on him, whatever you want to say. And he's still my brother. So you know, having people that's supportive, that's what I'll say. Having people that's supportive is a way to protect it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and yeah, and again, just realizing what means the most to you.
Yeah, and understanding why that means something to you.
Yep.
So not allowing society to influence you as far as what you should and shouldn't do. Like I said, I made a post about that on Facebook, and I won't get into it, but it was a big long discussion about what I thought was disrespectful. And I swear, I had all these people in this group telling me, "Oh my God, like that's just a signal of somebody's being insecure." What? So I'm insecure because I think it's disrespectful for a man to do a certain thing that I just wouldn't want him to do, but that's me being insecure. So we gotta remember to not allow societal influences to kind of help shape up what we should and shouldn't consider to be something that's considered a sign of respect and a sign of disrespect, and know why you have those standards, know why you have those boundaries in place, and work with each other with respect to that.
Okay. What's the next one?
What's yours?
I don't remember now.
You know what? I told you to go first
Yeah, well,
because you the old man,
well, yeah, I'm definitely the old man.
right?
Old woman.
Whatever. Okay, so the other topic I was talking about was oh, I didn't even send that to you. I was trying to send it to you just in case my phone died, so you would know what the topics were.
But I'm the old man.
I said just in case my phone died. So hold on, let me pull it up again since you didn't. Did I take a picture of it? Yeah. Okay, so then the other topic I was thinking about was since you separate to save your relationship or marriage.
I say no to that. JK, I'm gonna get to that too. That's kind of yeah. But should you separate to save?
Wait, no. First, get to that one because that's the other one.
What?
What you gonna get to? What?
His.
Discuss what your standards are.
Yeah.
Okay.
You wanna do that one first?
Yeah, do that.
When it comes to standards, she and I had a discussion a while ago about settling, right?
Mm.
A lot of times people settle in relationships. And I think women do it more than men do.
Mm-hmm. But that's what I'm saying. That's why though, from the societal influences.
Yeah.
People telling us, "Oh, a man gonna flirt. That's what he do."
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing.
But I'm just saying. But that could be a standard that we having somebody tell us like you have to deal with that in life.
Yeah. So that
all men cheat.
Then go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm done. Mouth is it. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish.
Anyway, I don't think people, if your standards are your standards, like if you want a woman, and I'm speaking from a man perspective, and just on this point, you want a woman with a big old butt and big old breast and big old lips and make $200,000 a year, and that's all it takes for you to think that that's your wife or the person you want to be with forever. I personally don't think that people should take two of the three. If that's what you want, then you go get it, because then that potentially not having that third one, whichever it is, it could have you potentially, when things get rough or whatever the case is, going looking for that one particular thing in that other person when you got 75% of what you want anyway. And it's because you settled. I believe if you have standards and certain things that's required of people, for you to be with them and that you think that's going to make you happy, I think they should check all the boxes. Now, what happens once you get together and y'all stay together, whether they meet that criteria that way, but if you guys are going to go back to the morals and values, if they have those same values, and you can work on them getting to, or you guys getting to where you want to be at with that. So I don't ever think somebody, if their standards is if they have certain standards of what they want from somebody, they should ever settle for anything less. because settling for less, like I said, always have you looking for it somewhere else. It's sort of like why I say people shouldn't date more than one person
Mhm.
at one time, because if you're dating more than one person at one time, if you're dating two or three people, then one of the other ones could have one of the things that you're looking for, and that other person can have everything but that one, and but that one can be the most important. But then you want it from then you can just get confused. So yeah, whatever your standards are and whatever you want out of somebody, if they ain't got 100% of what you want, um, I personally wouldn't look for a long term relationship
Yeah,
with
but
them.
today's society tell you exactly the opposite though. They tell you the chances of you finding someone that's gonna check all them boxes very rare.
They do, but that's why the marriage, the divorce rate is so high, because they don't find somebody that check all the
So you
boxes.
saying hold out for the person that check all the boxes?
I did. If yep, yep. If because if you don't, then you're not getting every. You don't go. I personally, I'm not gonna go buy a house or a car,
Hmm.
and everything else about the house is or the car is fine, except it ain't got no spark plugs. Like it, you know what I mean? Like or if we going, like when we went looking for an SUV,
Hmm.
we found a lot of SUVs we like, but we thought actually loved them, but we thought that what didn't have enough room.
Bench seats, yeah, were important.
So exactly.
Hmm.
So if it could seat that's a good point. Like we wanted something with a bench seat, right? Because when you go into the back, you got the little walkway or whatever. Well, we needed that extra space for our family. With that being said, if you're taking something less than what you want, then that extra space right there,
Hmm.
it's gonna cause a problem sooner or later.
Eventually, yeah.
So it's going to be like a hole that's missing from what you need to be where you want to be at with a person in life.
Mm.
How I view it.
Makes sense.
And too many times women do that. Like I said, women are this. I don't know what this. We talk about this a lot. They go to this thing that a man's going to be a man's going to cheat, a man's going to this, that, and the third, and women have to accept it. Is
Men got eyes.
yeah, we supposed to look. We're physical creatures. Yes, we do. And I've been a man that's been in a marriage that's done things wrong, been in relationships and cheating on everybody. Um, and it's because I say I totally wasn't in love with them or loved them or how they should be loved. So my eyes begin to wonder. Um, Now, if I see a chick like with a big old butt or something like that, my view on it is, baby, look, I don't want your butt to look like that. Like that is the, but it's not from a sexual gratification standpoint, and I don't even notice it. Like I don't walk and see women walking in front of me and just like that. Like that's not even a thought in my mind because I'm here with it everything. So she crosses all my T's and dots all my I's. She could be the ugliest woman in the world to the world, but she's the most beautiful woman in the world of me. She got the biggest ass in the world of me. And it's about that big. Anyway,
You know what?
so yeah, that's all I have to say. You
Okay.
made me talk about the whole thing. You ain't say nothing.
No, because I started talking and you looked at me all crazy.
Yeah,
So I
because it
just
was
shut
my
up.
turn, nigga. I mean, woman.
So there you go. There about you maybe I made you do it.
Yeah, watch this right here. I won't say nothing on the next one.
Yes, you are. Okay, so anyway, but yeah, that's important. I think that's how you protect your relationship is to begin it. You have to protect it from the start. But the other one that we are going to talk about was like whether or not you should separate to save your relationship or your marriage. And in talking about that, there's actually a scenario that I wanted to bring up too. There was a lady who talked about her and her husband separated twice. Both times it was due to infidelity because he was cheating on her. So they separated twice. This last time, I guess they've been separated for like 3 years. And then the husband kept begging her for them to work it out. So that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to work it out. However, he received a phone call at 4 o'clock in the morning and wouldn't answer it. So when she told him to call the person back through Facebook Messenger, he acted all shady about it. When he called the person back and they answered the phone and said hello, he was just like, "Why the hell are you calling me knowing I'm with my wife?" Like type of thing. So that's kind of twofold. First of all, should you separate to save your marriage relationship? I guess, and does it actually work? And then if you do separate to save your relationship and y'all try to work it out, what should be that criteria to before you're like, okay, no, this is not gonna work? I mean, how much leeway should be given, being that y'all have already separated and you're trying to work things out? I'm asking you.
You ain't not asking me that because you already know how I feel
Well,
about them.
tell it.
First of all, shout out to all the people that can come back from infidelity. I'm not one of them. Uh, I have certain insecurities as a man, uh, that's Jermaine, that I'm going to admit to. Um, I've told her, and I've said it on this thing 1,000 times. If I ever cheat on you, I don't care how much I beg and plead and whatever. Don't accept me back.
Right.
Uh, because of with cheating comes a process to even get to the point of cheating.
Right.
So if you're separating because of, and I'll actually change my stance, but if you're separating because of infidelity, then I think you should go and get a divorce. Uh, uh, well, let me say it this way: if you're separating because of infidelity,
Mhm.
if we had to separate because of infidelity, we have to get a divorce, because I would never be able to get over the hurdle of me visualizing you with another man.
Mhm.
Uh, I wouldn't even want to try. I love you more than anything in the world, but I don't want to fight those demons in my head. Like I
Mhm.
can't kiss you because I'm gonna be wondering if you was doing other things with your mouth to somebody else. I
Mhm.
couldn't have sex with you because I'll be wondering, I don't know, what made you do it anyway? Was he bigger, lasted longer? Did you enjoy it more? Were you hollering? Like all kind of shit to be going through my head. And I personally, and I'm gonna tell you now, yep, I would think about it. Call it insecurity. You ain't got no confidence in what you do. I don't give a damn what anybody say. I'm not fighting that. So I personally couldn't do it. Now, this is where I changed my stance on it, because at first I was gonna say, to save your marriage, should you separate? Depends on what you're separating for. If you're separating because I don't no, I can't change my stance. So no, you shouldn't separate. You married, you in it. You don't get to separate from your job. Uh,
Well,
you could
that's not
take.
necessarily
I mean,
true.
you could take a vacation. That's what
What?
but how long is the vacation? What, you gonna separate for 3 days?
No, no, no. But this is now that
Oh,
I disagree
okay.
because, well, okay, JK, I don't know if it's really giving the other person a hall pass. So you mean the separation? Because I think
Yeah,
really the whole point of separation is to
and
maybe you're separating to work on yourselves individually so that y'all can come back to each other as healed, whole people. So I'll disagree. Like with your job, they do some jobs, a lot of jobs do have things such as short-term disability, long-term disability. I had to leave my job for over a year for mental health reasons
well, then we
that
go.
was going on, things that were going on. So I
Well,
actually had to step away from it.
well, I work for myself, so I don't know about that job.
But I'm saying, so I actually had to step away from it in order to get some things together so that I could come back and perform like I needed to perform at my job. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're using separation in that manner in a marriage, then I don't know. Like, and like you said, I don't know. Infidelity is just like a no go for me. So I understand that aspect of it. But what if it's for other reasons? What if your spouse is um, dealing with some serious like schizophrenia type mental health issues or something, and like just being with them is dangerous right then, or being with them is just mentally like abusive to you at that point, but you know that it can get better. So do you not separate in order to allow them to go and
That's not
do?
a good scenario
I'm
for
just
me.
asking
No,
you.
that's yeah, right, Jay. I can't either. That's not a good scenario for me because I only can speak to how I am now. Whatever you're gonna go through mentally, whatever you're gonna go through in your life now, I'm here to ride it out with you. Whatever it is. But now, if it comes to the point of, let's say, all the pressure of what goes on gets to you where you lose your damn mind, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna stick it out. I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna do this, that, and the third. But when it comes to the point of you're like endangering me, or I feel threatened, like I'm not gonna be able to do it, or to the point where we can't function as a family. I don't know, because I love you so much. I think you're supposed to stay together in those situations too. Because if it gets to the point where I have to separate, then if it ever get to the point where I ever don't want to be around you, it's not. I feel as though that I can't if I can feel like that once, then I can feel like that twice. If I can feel like that twice, it's just going to continue to happen. So every time we have a problem or don't see eye to eye, we supposed to separate, or things get that right now.
I don't know. I don't. Not. I think no. I think that would be like a superficial thing. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying you have had couples who have, because they haven't protected their relationship, or because they haven't nurtured a relationship, or because they haven't continued to learn each other. They feel like okay. They have some couples that feel like they have fallen out of love with each other, and they don't want a divorce, but they find that they're arguing all the time. They just don't know. Counseling hasn't worked.
Well,
Some in them instances, some people have separated. Say, you know what, we're not going to be with nobody else. We just need some time apart to kind of figure ourselves out, figure out where we want to go.
And in
with
that
this.
time apart,
and then that time apart, they realize,
realize what they mean to each other. This, that, and the third.
Yeah, and they get back, and they have very successful marriages after that.
Okay, and I, like I said, shout out to all the people that do that. Me personally, when you have to do that, and it takes being away from somebody to realize what they mean to you, like you said, that comes from not nurturing the relationship and everything else, right? How I feel is I shouldn't have to be away from you to know what you mean to me.
Yeah, but sometimes people get lost, though. People start taking people for granted. It's not like they do it intentionally.
I just guess because I'm so I don't know. I don't think I'm good at those type of conversations.
No, but because even you just said the other day, like you were talking about some stuff, and you was like, well, is it kind of like taking you for granted? And then you were like, kind of, yeah, because I don't do some of the things that I started off doing, and there's no different. All you're doing is taking it to a different level. So some people easily fall into that trap, and it just they don't recognize it like you did.
Well,
it just keeps growing and growing, and it's not like they intentionally allow, but they got work that they're dealing with. They got all this stuff. It don't come to the forefront of their mind that that's what's going on until it's too late.
So then that's why I think that I can't rationalize or even understand or see that, because I work on me so much, which allows me to matured. Yes. So I still say, while within your marriage or relationship, you still should be working on you to, one, better yourself and understand your partner more as well. So it should never get to the point of you separating, because if it gets to the point of us separating, and I know everybody is different too, guys, but if it got to the point of where I feel as though that we have to separate, that means I done did everything I could as far that I feel as though that I could to work on me to help me be better for you. And at that point, separation is not going to do any good, because once we separate, I know I'm going to miss the hell out of you, but it's nothing else that I could do. So even with me coming back, it's still nothing else more I can do. So whatever the problem is that made me, the pre-existed that made me want to leave in the beginning or separate in the beginning, then it's not going to, that problem is still going to be there.
You act like, no, I disagree with that. That doesn't mean the problem is still going to be there. I think sometimes people, even in their maturity, it's like, that's almost saying like people are flawless and they're not going to make mistakes. And I think people, even in their maturity, can make the mistake of continually taking somebody, I ain't talking about infidelity, nothing like that, but I'm saying continually taking their relationship for granted, or getting so bogged down with other stuff that's going on in their life, whether it be court cases or whatever, get so bogged down that they don't pay attention to their spouse, and they lose that. But I have to applaud those people who instead of saying, yeah, let's just walk away from each other, we done. There's something to be applauded by now. Those people that do say, we don't want to walk away from each other. We know that there's something that's got to be done differently. What we've been trying hasn't worked. Let's go separate as far as living in separate spaces, so we can figure out what's going on, what our demons are individually, and fix that so that we can come back together and be whole. Because sometimes you can't do that in a toxic environment. You have to leave the toxic environment in order to fix yourself.
All right, then. So watch this. Even with that, right? Once you separate, and let's say you have that conversation and you separate, you just said the key word, the demons, right? So you know what? Yeah, we arguing, yada, 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 this, that, and the third. And then when you go to separate, your whole point of separating could be, all right, let me work on me. Let's see, can we get this back together? Maybe being around, living in two different environments help. Everything you just said, right? Now watch this, because men are weak, and I am.
See, there you go.
Well, no, yeah, it doesn't make it right. Because people are weak. Hell, even women are weak too. So I don't want to just say men, but you allow an outside force at that point to potentially come in, because now you don't have the safety net of your spouse, or whatever it is. You may go to the store, whereas before you wouldn't entertain a "Hey, I'm beautiful." Well, at that moment, maybe your spouse ain't there to call. Your spouse is not there to call you beautiful. You're not going back home to your spouse so they can call you beautiful. Or the man may whatever he needs and get a compliment. Now a little flirtation action coming in. Now you got interference ran in between you while you're separated. That's going to make it harder
Oh, but that
to
can, yeah.
bring it back
But if
full
that's the case,
circle.
that can happen when you're with the person. If you're that out of touch with them, you may be you. Matter of fact, it may be made worse when you stay with the person, because if you get on each other's nerves like that and the person's so irritating, you may actually welcome something like that. Whereas if you truly separate to focus on yourself, you ain't even got time for that, because you're like, I ain't got time to be bothered with nothing else. I'm trying to fix me because something is going on with me. Something's going on with my marriage. I need to fix this. And you're not even focused on that. Whereas if I'm with you and you irking me day out and we get in an argument because that's what we've been doing every day, and I go out to the store, I may, because I'm in the midst of that argument with you, be like, some dude say hey, and I'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna take his damn number because this nigga at home.
But then why you have to separate like that? Why you just can't go sleep in another room and then we start dating all over again with that like that?
No, I get that, but I'm saying sometimes people, I think the apartment.
Nigga, you leave my house, you ain't coming back. We over it. I ain't playing that. Like, that's crazy. I'm not doing all that.
But if you're in a separate room, don't mean that y'all not still communicating. I mean, interact with each other daily. Maybe you don't need that in daily interaction. Maybe that's what's going on, because y'all keep rubbing each other the wrong way. You don't know why.
Well, if we're seeing, this is where I disagree with you at, because if we in agreement to separate, then hey, let's separate. You go to this side of the house, you go to this side of the house, or you go to this room.
Now,
I go to this
room. That don't work.
Why it doesn't?
Because we know that.
How it doesn't?
It just does not work.
Well, yeah, it can work. Again,
but a
if
lot
the
of times
focus,
it doesn't.
Yeah, but because the focus is not, most time when people separate, they're not separating saying, "Hey, let's go work on it." They separating because we're done.
No, and that's what I'm trying to say. No, some people truly separate not because they're done.
I ain't never seen nobody separate like that.
Some people separate because they need
the upper echelon of.
My point is the people who are separating because for that reason, not because they just saying they're done, but because they're saying no, we want to work and make this work. I have to applaud them people for that, because they're trying to do everything
I
to
do
save
as
their marriage. So I'm not going to say like them separating was wrong. No, if that's what it takes to get y'all back to the point where y'all need to be, then do that. I'm saying like there may be times where certain couples, depending on who they are, have to do that. So I'm talking about people who separate with the intention of fixing their marriage, not separating saying, oh, we don't know what's going to happen. No, if the separation is with the intention of this is what we're doing to get back to where we want to be at as a couple, then I can get that and I can understand that.
Well, that now, you know what? I'm sitting here listening, and I personally never have seen that. I've heard of it, but I've never physically seen it. But what I will say is this: for the people that do that, then that means that they are still in love and still in tune with one another, right? I would just worry about, that extra, like I said, interference, and that extra, the extra demons that the devil can throw your way.
That.
I definitely would worry about that. And I'm sorry, I'm hard on men and women are, and we are. And I get it that we didn't have this discussion. Like, men shouldn't be. Men shouldn't think with. It shouldn't be like men. Men are incapable of thinking, and they only do is think with our other head. Which, just the fact of the matter is, a lot of times that's true. And you give a man that type of freedom, unless it's a very, like you said, I think with the thing that you just said, people have to be very mature to get to that level. And I think that's what's missing out of a lot of marriages and relationships, is that type of maturity. So for the most parts, I don't think a man or people will be able to separate like that. I'm not saying that it can never happen, it won't ever happen, but I don't think people can separate like that. What I do believe happen, and I have a Facebook friend that's going through something similar. It seems as if his wife, they're separated, and his wife is out doing her thing, and ain't no doubt in my mind, because they've been together forever, and ain't no doubt in my mind after she gets through doing her thing, she gonna want her husband back. And because and it could be because of what you said, like they stayed in a toxic environment so much, and then somebody else came in and she entertained it, or whatever the case may be. So that could be it as well. But I I don't know. I say no. I say if I have to separate from you, because I'm gonna do. I said this earlier. It's something that we was talking about earlier a couple days ago, or something I seen on Facebook. You have, what was it? You have to fight, or what was it? What you fight for your relationship? How did that? What did they say? Basically, it's you got to stay consistent in what you do in your relationship for the love that you have. I'll say it like that. Um, so like I said, I'm going to consistently make sure I'm doing everything to stay in love with you. I don't, like I said, I got these butterfly feelings when we had that conversation that I don't ever want to go away, and I'm going to fight for those feelings to stay there at all times. So with me, I'm saying me, I just don't believe that a separation, if I have to separate, it's over.
I don't know. I think the people, I do think that that's an extreme. Like that should be like a last resort. But again, I still have to say that if people are willing to do that with the hopes that it's going to save their marriage, then I consider that fighting for your relationship, marriage. I consider that fight. That's just a tough. That's a hard. That's matter of fact, that's a hard as hell fight. Yeah. If you're like, okay, yeah, let's do this so that we can. That's hard. That's harder than to me than two people staying together and just like trying to deal with it.
Hey, look here, the Jermaine about 7-8 years ago. You separate from me, yeah, we can get back together. But boy, in that time, I'm being had about like 33 partners in less than a month and a half.
Now see, that's crazy. Right, don't fight with each other, fight with each other for the relationship. And that's what I'm saying. 100%. Like I think that if that's what you have to do to fight for the relationship, and it's not something that we just done with it night. I'm saying like there are actually some people out there that do that with the intent that no, we gonna focus on ourselves because we want to make ourselves better for each other, and this is what's going to save our marriage. Now if you should separate because you like I want to go do my own thing and be out on the streets, now that's totally different.
Yeah,
and I don't agree with that. I think that's just you probably don't need to be married at that point. But if the separation is with the focus of we need to do something, work on each other, ourselves individually, work together. And some people during their separation, they'll be going through counseling. They'll be living separately. They'll be going through counseling. They'll be going to individual counseling. They'll be going through couples counseling. And then they end up together and their marriages is that much better because now they know everything that they were doing wrong. Now they know what they have to do to make it so they don't get to that point anymore. But those people, I can't say they ain't fighting. They fighting hard as hell.
Yeah, I agree.
You fighting hard as hell for your marriage when you do that.
I agree with that. Y'all have to understand too this, like I said, Jay, you always on here, so thank you, brother. I'm a different type of individual, and I come from a hood background, a street background, so to speak. Not that I was in the street killing people and fighting and all that, but the mentality of the typical, I don't want to say typical, the mentality of an immature young adolescent that became a young adult and took forever to get it right. I got to this point, and I still got a long way to go. Got to this point because I just got tired of doing wrong, and there was another way. So I come from an angle of having that, how I think that the younger or the immature men have. So I try to bring that aspect to it, not to give credence, but more of to give her, because sometimes we get into it about that, understanding of how those type of people think, right? So that's where I come from with that. Just everything, just in my thoughts in general, as well as still trying to mature. I try to bring that aspect to our conversations, which always doesn't go accordingly. Right. But
now in that though, I will say that particular scenario that young lady's dealing with, I don't know, because it seemed like they were separating because of infidelity to begin with. So it wasn't like a separation to fight for the marriage. It's separated because you dogging me and I'm done type thing. Yeah. Then the guy begs her to come back. And I think in them situations, that person, you would think 3 years is long enough for that person to kind of mature and grow if they really wanted to be back with their marriage. But apparently, I don't know if he was showing signs of growing or not, or if he just wore her down. But in those situations, you really have to be looking at that person and looking to see if they are really showing change, not just verbally telling you they change or just showing that they change because when they're around you for the little bit of time they're around you to try to wean you back in. But they should be made. They're gonna have to prove that there's been some substantial
Yep,
change
100%.
because otherwise you getting back with that person for them to be doing the same thing that they've been doing. And the only reason why they begging you back is because you're comfortable for them, your comfort zone. They realize, oh, I'm gonna need somebody that's gonna have my back because maybe they even realize like these people out the street, I may want to mess with them, but they ain't gonna be nobody I can be with long term. So they want you still in that corner so they can have you to fall back on. And so that's not a real let's work our marriage out type of thing situation.
Yeah, I agree on that. You got something else? We I
Pride,
got.
divide, but humility unlocks God's ability here. I agree with that too.
Yeah, that's 100%. I'll tell y'all. So this is a sidebar right here, and then she can get into the next conversation you had on. I did something to pat myself on the back. Uh, I did something earlier this week, where part of me has changed, right? And like I said, I take pride in trying to be emotional enough and have learned and still learning my wife. So we're here, doing something with trying to doing things to help the family. So we had to come to Iowa, and I was upstairs with her mother, and she was like, "Why you ain't put mom to bed and this, that, and the third? I help her mom get in bed." I was like, "She want to watch the movie," so she texted me and told me I'm not being any help right now, and with an attitude. So then she called me and said, "Why are you doing that? This, that, and the third, da, da, da." This and from my previous lives, right? This is what I always said about being emotional and as a man and understanding the emotions that it takes to love your woman appropriately. So I said, "Baby, you know what? I'm coming downstairs," and I went downstairs because at that point she wasn't mad at me. I knew she was frustrated. So I came downstairs and I talked to her, made her laugh, tried to make her feel a little bit better. Um, the emotional part of me is what made that is allowed that connection to be there to know that she wasn't mad at me, but she was frustrated. Now the old me probably got mad and started a whole big ass argument. Why are you talking to me? I'm up here and I'm doing that. But knowing what my wife needed in that moment, and I came downstairs and made her laugh, and whatever. It wasn't even like I said that serious. Uh, I was proud of myself because of that. I just want you to know that I was
You
proud of
should be
myself
proud of
because of
yourself
that.
because you did tell me. He said, "You know what I saw? I saw that my wife was frustrated. That's all I heard."
I
And
didn't
then
hear nothing
and
else she
you didn't hear
said.
nothing else. All I heard was that my wife is frustrated. Let me go. Let me go check on her.
Yep, yep.
And that's what he did, and I appreciate it.
And I seen that coming all week long though. So that's a sidebar. I just wanted to throw that in there, man, and let everybody know. Just because you're a man, you can be emotional, right? Because I still knock somebody's head off if I have to. You know what I mean? My emotions is strictly for my wife. It ain't like we gonna get out in these streets and somebody disrespect her and be like, "Oh my man, why you doing that to my wife? Leave her alone." Like, nah, that ain't gonna happen, man. Uh, but anyway, yeah, I think that was very. And if you ever get to that level of emotional connection with your significant other, spouse, whatever you want to call it, then man, it'll make you feel good when you be like, "Damn, I got it." You know what I mean? Like I got it. I know I got it right this time, right? Because like I said, it was a simple conversation, simple conversation. So anyway, what's next, baby?
All right, you had the one that you
I
said something
don't
about the
know.
cheat one. Somebody cheated. Somebody did something.
I don't know.
You remember what it
No, I
was?
don't.
Okay, so what to do when your spouse irks you or your partner irks you?
Ooh,
What do you do?
you go first.
No, you go first, Mister.
God
I want to
damn
be
it!
in
I
love
just get
every.
finished talking.
What about Mister? I want to be in love every day. What happens when you don't when they irk you to the point where you like I don't like them today?
Well, I'm never gonna get you. Never gonna irk me to a point I don't like you. I can't. I don't know.
Well, can't you love a person and not like them
Yes.
in that moment?
No. I don't know.
I think you can.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I always say, as mad as I get at you, I'm still in love with you. But I don't know if you when you start aggravating me, I try to walk away. But we already know how that works. Um,
How does it work?
it doesn't. Like I, you know what? Whatever, man. I walk away, and here she come. So I don't. When you irk me, I just have to deal with it. I don't know how to handle that. So that's a question I can't answer.
Okay, what have we been trying to work on though when we irk each other?
We try to give each other our space or whatever. Try to
Mhm.
come. It's more of, well, we just got to that point because of the last argument we had, but we well, I would think if you irk me and you know me walking away, then you try to give me that time to calm down. With that, it takes me hours and hours to calm down. With her giving me that opportunity, I have to minimize the time that it takes me to calm down because I know she don't like me walking away. So it's a whole different type of compromise. We both have to compromise. She has to give me my whatever minutes, hours, 30 seconds, 30 minutes, and then I have to be able to come back to her to try to rectify whatever the disagreement is.
Yeah, so the
So
compromise, like you can't be staying mad
yeah, because
a whole day,
I'll
two
stay.
days.
I ain't gonna stay mad 2 days, but
That
it take me about 5 or 6 hours to
that
calm
you
down.
get your little time to be mad. And
She
then
and I can't even get my 5 or 6 hours, so I have to
no,
minimize
yeah,
that at
when they
least to
come to
30,
5 6
40.
hours, it'll be like 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I just said. I can't get my 5 or 6 hours, so I
Okay.
had to simmer it down to 30, 40 minutes. So, but I
But
mean,
the thing is, your spouse, your partner is going to irk you every once in a while. That's just normal. You're two different people. You're individuals. So you're not gonna always be like just. I mean, there's gonna just be some shit. You just maybe in an irritable mood, and they irk you. Just like hey, keep my kids irk me sometimes. Everybody, family members irk me. Spouse gonna irk me. Um, but it's about knowing that that's normal and that's part of the process and that's part of relationships. I think for some people they'll get really irritable. They'll have a spell where they're irritable and it seems like everything they spouse do is wrong and blah blah. And it'd be them sometimes some people that be like, oh, it must be our marriage must be over because of that. We got a bad relationship, and that's not necessarily true. It may be that you're just going through a Mercury retrograde. You just don't know.
whatever. I don't even know what the hell that is.
But I mean, it may just be that there's just something going on, like additional stressors in your life that's making you irritable or making everything seems abnormally frustrating. But at that time, at the moment, you know that okay, well, that my spouse is doing things and it's irking me and I'm being frustrated and really have no reason to do that. That's the time that you have to take a step back and kind of think for yourself, like, okay, what's really going on here?
Hmm. So, that's just what to do with the irk me. Something else just popped in my mind too.
What?
I wonder how important or how do men, and now I can say I'm guilty of, how do men, how important is it for a man for their spouse to say, or their significant other to say, I love you? Like, does that, I wonder, does that,
You mean for men to
yeah,
hear?
yeah, yeah, for men to hear from their significant other, why? I want to do, I don't think that um resonate with us or means as much to us as it does when we tell you guys.
So you don't care about hearing that from me?
I mean, it doesn't I already know you love me. Yeah, like I said, I'm more of an actions guy. I mean, by you telling me, it reaffirms it, but like, or it confirms it, but it's like, if you say it, you say it. It ain't gonna bother me if you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you stop doing things to show me you love me,
Mm-hmm.
on top of not saying you love me, because you can tell me you love me and you ain't doing nothing to prove that you love me other than saying I love you. So that's why those words really don't
I
mean.
don't know if it's all men or if it just depends on love. Those that I think depends on love languages. So I think you have some men who have that words of affirmation that they need that for their
but
love language.
but I wonder if that goes back to their history of their, or whatever happened to them, like prior or bad relationships or parent type mom type thing to make them need to hear it.
I think
You
a
get
lot
what
of
I'm saying?
people's love language is based off of their experiences, especially in particular childhood experiences or things that they felt like they lacked.
I never thought about that.
So I think a lot of people's love language is like if you as a child didn't feel like your parents told you they loved you enough, I think that could potentially end up being your love language. Needing to hear that from people.
Maybe.
So I think even with men, some men need to hear that. Some matter of fact, I've seen actually in groups where people where men have said, "Well, we want to hear that we also want you to hear that we are that you appreciate us." That and that's the same thing. when a man saying, "I want to hear that you tell me that you appreciate me, that you love me, that you support me." Like some men say, they need to hear that out of a woman's mouth.
Yeah, maybe. I just think for, well, I don't know. I can't because I'm not around. I can't check all men, but I'm not around men like that. I just think for the vast majority of, that's how we get to the point of situations where like guys really not listening to women because we wouldn't, like I'm saying, like if you telling me like this is what's going on, but I can't hear you deep enough to understand what you need. And like for Quentin, but basically what I'm saying about my cousin and his wife,
Mm.
what happens, right? I think we don't need. I just don't think we need to hear it as much as y'all do. But like you say, it
Mm.
could be because of love language as
Yeah, I
well,
think that's
and it
yeah.
could be because of ego. It could be because of ego and not being emotional. Going back to that emotional thing, because we feel as though you, a lot of men feel as though that you know it's like I could
But
tell
is
my
that
brother, I could
them?
tell my brother I love him.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I say my brother, I'm talking about my best friend. I can say
Mm-hmm.
I love you, and a lot of guys can't do that because the response from another guy could be like, "You mean you love me now?" Like my brother and my best friend, well, a couple of my friends, if I say I love you, they're gonna say I love you back, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't feel a way. But us with our macho ness and
Mm-hmm.
and the emotional part, we think that that's the emotional aspect that you only supposed to be able to say to a woman. So it's like, I don't know.
No,
I
no,
just
no.
don't.
But even in that, when you talk about ego, though, is it your ego? Okay, so it may be ego telling you that you don't need that, but is it really saying that you don't need it, or is it masking a need? So your ego could be telling you don't need that, but subconsciously you really do need that, and that may be the reason why some men. I think it probably is the reason why some men who have raised with this machismo, masculinity thing, are always searching for something, and they always have a void they trying to fill because your masculinity is telling you, oh, well, you're not supposed to feel this, you're not supposed to do this, but you really need to feel that. You really need to hear that.
Hmm.
So I think the ego and the masculinity and all this, and even on the female side, what females are supposed to do kind of mask the things that we really need. I don't think it's dictating for us what we need. I think it's masking it. And in that respect, a lot of us are walking around with all these voids.
Jay said he don't need it.
Well,
I agree,
and
Jay.
Jay, it could
So
be just
JJ,
it could be you being that could be a mask though. It
well,
could be that you really do need it and
oh,
you just don't know that you need it.
let me ask you this, Jay. Because you said you don't need it, is it that you don't need it, or you prefer it to be shown in action versus it being said? That's what I like to know.
Because if it's a preference, then that's your love language.
Okay, okay. Well,
I mean,
I uh, I don't
and I think that's a difference between a preference
It's interesting.
and the difference between you not knowing whether or not you need it. Because again, I think there are a lot of men, a lot of women too, that are out there trying to fill voids because they're thinking that they don't need something that they actually really need.
I agree, Jay.
And so
Because
his
watch
love
this.
language maybe just be action,
It
then
may
acts of
be.
service.
It may be. Watch this. Watch this. Every time you tell me you love me, what do I say to you?
I already know that.
And it's because she showed me. Like that's like it's cool that you said. I appreciate it. Uh Now I ain't gonna lie, when you do what you did earlier today, like she threw a phone down and I'm like, oh shit, I'm in trouble. And she said, man, I gotta tell you something. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh my God, what I done did? I'm starting to think that I'd have had some chicks from way back text me. I'd have said something on Facebook. She done seen that I don't know. I said all kinds. She's like, no, I need you to know how much I really love you. And I'm looking at her like, what did I say when you said that? What did I say? You remember?
Yeah,
I was like, I know damn well you ain't just throw your phone down like that to tell me that. Like I don't Jay, that's not true. Um um what they dang. Well, I beg to differ. Everybody, I think I just
I
think
think
that
everyone has a love language.
it's just it's so many of them. I didn't even know what a love language was. But anyway, back to what I
You
said.
just told us what it was. Action. That's your love language.
Well, there you go. But yeah, when she told me that, it was like, man, I know it don't like whatever. I appreciate it, but that did kind of warm my heart because it only reason it now I think about only reason it warmed my heart because it was the emotions you put is difference between when you say I love you, but when you do things like that, I felt as though that it was coming from more of a emotional place into like, yo, I really want you to know
Mhm.
that I love you.
Mhm.
So that may have meant a little bit more to me because it meant so much to you, if
Right.
it made sense.
Right.
So in that aspect, I'm not gonna say it don't really, don't really help me, but because it was so embedded in you at that particular moment, and that's
Mhm.
what you was feeling. I kind of felt that.
Mhm.
So yeah, that type of stuff means that just confirms me I'm doing my job as your
Oh yeah.
husband. So
And even from that, like I agree, Calvin, if it come from an authentic place, right, that's good. If it's insecurity and ego, like man, just a man that's somebody tell me you love me, tell me you look, cause they just insecure, yeah, that's totally different. But Jay, yeah, I think your love language is probably action if that's what you want to see. But it goes to again, even in my first marriage, one of the things that my ex husband said to me was like, I wanted someone to ask me how my day was. There's no different than needing somebody to say I love you. I need someone to ask me how my day is going. I need someone to tell me that I'm being appreciated. So it's some guys that actually do need that.
Jay, watch this. Um, Let me ask you. I'm gonna ask you a quick question because I think you and I kind of almost the same person when it comes to this. How do you feel when you buy, if you have a girlfriend or whatever, or when you buy somebody something like somebody you're dating or something? How does that make you feel? Um, because with me, normally when I buy somebody something, it's it makes me feel good because I'm capable, I'm able to do that for them and to see the smile on their face and things like that. So that makes me feel great when we first started dating. We started talking about this love language stuff and this, that, and the third. And I was like, I ain't got no love language and this, that, and the third, right? But I wanted to buy her everything and just buying her things and this, that, and the third. Yes, she was appreciative. Yeah, it was like whatever, but it did more for me than it did for her. Uh, I could give her $100 million and she'll smile, be happy. What person wouldn't, right? But if you, I mean, of course, I'm exaggerating, but if you take a gift or whatever I get her for a night of just talking to me and hugging her and tapping her on her butt or whatever, she'll trade that for a gift any day. Is basically what I'm saying. So in learning about love language, and I see what you said. Then your love language is probably what you say mine was
Well,
the
acts of service.
yeah, acts of service or
Hmm.
something like that.
And
Uh,
gifts, yeah.
but I started learning about love language with that. So everybody has a love language, man. It's like I'll have $10 in my pocket and give a homeless man seven of them because I want to go buy me a soda or something, and you'll think that I gave them $1 million just because I know uh, uh, it helped them. Like we was doing something the other day. This is a sidebar. We were doing something the other day before we came up here and looking for a U-Haul trailer, and I seen a guy laying on the ground. I ain't had number $5 in my pocket, and I seen him when I rolled by. And after we came back, I passed him again, and something hit me like right now. Give it to him. So I turned around and I gave it to him, and that actually made my day. Like she was like, "What are you doing?" Be careful, it's a dude right there. I was like, "Yeah, I seen him. That's the reason I turned around." Right. So yeah, I'm pretty sure you got a love language too, bro.
Yeah, and it's funny, and that's the importance of knowing those things is because sometimes we want to love people in the way that
We want to love them,
we
and they don't need it.
in right. So like you were saying with the gift stuff, like I'm like, okay, I don't want gifts. Like I don't need them like that. Like just tell me you love me and hug me. Yeah, I'm good. That's my love language.
Yeah.
But I know some people who say women who said their love language is matter of fact, it was a woman who posted about her partner irking her, whether or not she should marry him. And people were telling her, well, he doing all this and you complaining, blah blah. But her, to me, what it was saying, because the things that she was irked about was the other stuff, like, well, he doesn't just take out the trash, he doesn't pick up behind himself. He's so her love language is she feels like someone appreciates her if they're not putting extra work on for her to do, or if they're recognizing, oh well, let me take out this trash, let me clean up behind myself because I don't want my woman doing this. That's her love language. Like that's what shows her love. Like she don't care about him necessarily telling her he loves her. She wants him to do certain things, and that's how she feels love. So these are all based on how people are raised. I know somebody who said that the way their father showed their mom love was by taking, like he would do things like just take her car and get it washed and and vacuum it out and just like, would just do like that was his thing. And that was one of the ways in which he showed us. So she grew up thinking like, okay, if a man doesn't do that for me, like how much does he love me? There's nothing wrong with that, but it's important to learn your partner's love language, learn your love language, and then also be able to recognize, okay, I need to love them in the way they need to be loved and not just the way that I want to show love. It's okay with doing both, but you can't just do it in the way that you want to show love because
they may not need it.
They may not need it. And then it's also important to do, I say do a combination, because if you showing love makes you feel good, then you have to have that too. So you have to do sometimes a combination. Like if he wants to give me gifts because that makes him feel good, I'm not gonna say no, don't ever give me no gift and just tell me no. That's fine. As long as you're doing a combination of them, I'm good with that. So,
well, I want to go watch this game. I'm talking to you guys for an hour. Oh, he's there.
Oh, Disney cruise. Man, I want to go on Disney cruise, but
that was the highlight of last year. Well, I mean, if it made you good to see her smile, then
yeah, you definitely learning, yeah.
Then
you mean how do you balance the like doing stuff for them without feel like being taken for granted? I think that comes from discernment. So sometimes you have to ask God for discernment. Now, if somebody just and ask Him to guide you in that, because there's a difference between somebody acting like that's their love language. So you don't want some woman, some chick who's just like a gold digger, even some guy for that matter, acting like, oh, well, the only way I feel like I'm loved is you buy me a boat. That's I love,
Well, that's why you bought me the boat.
Shut up. But you don't want no a guy or any person, partner, female, male, taking advantage of that, saying that that's their love language, but it really isn't. They just really trying to just get over on somebody. So I think in that respect, that takes learning the person that you're dealing with, asking God for discernment so that He protects you from them type of people. And those things, and then you just have to kind of just fill it out to see if that's really their love language. You should be able to tell by the way they treat you.
And that's what I was gonna say. How do you balance it? Let's say if it becomes expected, in my opinion, if it becomes expected, then it's not genuine, right? If you buy somebody something, and it just seems like it's the highlight of their day, right? Matter of fact, I'll go there. Like if you buy somebody something, it seems like it's the highlight of their day, and then you buy them something again because you want them to feel like that again, and then you do it the third day. And I'm just using a scenario here, but then you go a month or 3 weeks or something without doing it because of whatever reason. You just didn't want to do it, or you ain't had the money, or you're too busy, or whatever, and they start complaining about it, then it may be because they're expecting you to do it, right? With her, I'll say this. With her, I bought a pair of sucky Pittsburgh Steelers house shoes, worst team in the NFL. Boy, anyway, and you would have sworn up and down that I gave her like $20 billion. How smile, she was like, "Oh, that's so sweet." I was like, "It cost $23." Right? So it's like that type of emotion is genuine, right? So if I turn around and then buy something else that's $5, she's gonna have the same reaction, right? It could be $1, she's gonna have the same reaction. She started complaining about how much it costs. Why I ain't buy this, and I ain't did nothing for her in XYZ amount of time, but yet I'm taking on date nights and we're communicating and all of this. Then it's just not going to be genuine. Anytime somebody expect it, then it's not.
That's true. Because most time when when it's our love language, it's not like we're expecting that.
Right.
We're hoping to get it. We're hoping that somebody love us in the way we want to be loved, but we're not expecting it. And we don't ask for it. Like, I ain't going around, give me $10,000 ring. I want that ring. That's not
right. Watch this, y'all. And I promise y'all, I want to go watch the Cowboy games. When we got engaged, right? First of all, it was crazy how we got engaged.
I was gonna bring that up.
It was crazy how we got engaged, and that's see the connection. She said she was gonna bring it up. You want to tell the story? Nah, you don't know where I'm going.
You tell it better.
We were laying in bed, and I was like, "Yep, I'm probably gonna spend the rest of my life with her." I said, "Man, you gonna be engaged?" And she said, "Yeah." I said, "All right, let's go pick out your ring." Now I had put in my mind that I was gonna max my credit card out. I ain't had number like $5,000 limit on it or whatever. No, $7,500 limit. I said I was gonna max it out and get a ring, right? So we we go in the case. We go in the case. Looking at the ring. The ring that I seen was like $5,800. Um, the ring she chose, I think that ring was like what 45 or something originally. Uh, and I don't know if she. I forgot how it went. But anyway, make a long story short, she chose a way cheaper ring, and then because of the ring, matter of fact, she told me she didn't want me to spend that much money on a ring anyway. But the ring was 4,500. Like, I really want the ring. Da da da. People said it was on sale, but I didn't know how much it was on sale for. They didn't really care. The ring ended up costing way less. I'll say that. I don't want to embarrass myself, but it cost way less. And you would thought that the ring cost $100,000. So that's genuine. You understand what I'm saying? I probably could have. I'm gonna try it. I probably could have took her and bought a cubic zirconium for about $19.99 out of Walmart, and she would have been just as happy.
Well, I was having my promise ring.
Oh, well, you trying to make it act like the promise ring was cheap?
Yeah, I said it was
ring.
1995, but
It was $29.95.
Anyway, I didn't ask for a price.
Yeah, man.
Stuff.
Yeah, we just
no, he just wanted to buy all these gaudy price, very expensive rings. I was like, I don't want that. I want something. This is the thing. I didn't even see the price of the ring that I got.
She didn't.
What I noticed was like I've always wanted a ring with my birthstone and with morganite in it. So I was like, when I saw the ring, I was like, oh, and it was rose gold, and that's what I've always wanted. So I was like, oh my god, this is like the ring that I've always wanted, like with the morganite and then my birthstone and rose gold. Okay, yeah.
And I felt it wasn't enough.
He did. He was like, I don't know, you want that ring? You want to cost this much money? Blah, blah, blah. But I was like, that's the ring I like.
So that's how you balance it to me and understand it.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna try.
Okay, our promises again. Jesus, we're gonna do this more frequently. We're gonna find a night that works, so y'all will know.
We said Sunday at 7:00 Eastern time. We got a lot going on, guys, and but we definitely got to get more consistent. And I'll say this: I appreciate y'all being on,
yes, and participating.
Absolutely,
thank you.
But even if y'all wasn't, it's really this is where we stand. It's really for us to, because we communicate, I think, enough with one another, but to do it this way, it's also therapeutic and like a counseling for us.
So have a good night. Go watch some Cowboys lose.
Yeah, exactly. Because we was about to get a divorce if she said go Cowboys. Peace, love, and aphorisms. Love you. Hang up. I don't know how to do that.
You gonna learn today.
Yeah, whatever.